Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Health Summit. I'm Karen King, and with my co-host Salma from Radis. Today, we're really excited to be here with the game changer himself, Chris Wyllie. Let me give you a little bit about his background. He's one really smart, behind-the-scenes guys in the functional brain optimization field. You may know him, but if not, we're really excited to introduce him to you. Chris has more charisma, fire, and the ability to capture the hearts of people and will lead them to success because he speaks from the heart. He speaks from personal experience. He speaks from clinical experience and breakthroughs in health and performance. He's facilitated working with world-class organizations, autistic communities, universities, and other groups. Chris is a neuroplastician. Did I say that right? Neuroplastician? Okay, master brain trainer, licensed NLP trainer and master practitioner, hypnotist, Shaolin disciple, Qigong and Tai Chi, superhuman health coach, author, speaker. As well, Chris has been trained by many prominent neuroscientists and has avidly learned from neurosurgeons such as Dr. Jack Kruse. In addition to all that, he also has a double honors degree in economics and psychology from University of Western Ontario. Chris's mission is to push the limits of brain optimization, health, and performance to see what the human brain, mind, and body are capable of. And most importantly, to teach people how to precisely take control of their own brain and body via neuroplasticity training, neurolinguistic programming, brain power nutrition, brain qigong, martial arts, and cutting-edge neurotechnologies and brain hacking. And he's only 19?
19.
Chris, welcome to the Ultimate Health Summit.
Well, thank you, and I hope the listeners here have a strong working memory to be able to remember everything you just said, but if not, we're going to get that working a little bit better here, hopefully, in this hour.
Absolutely. Well, we have been waiting for this interview with you for a long time. But Chris, so you've transformed your own brain and health and have gone from, extreme anxiety and panic attacks and being hospitalized and 30 pounds underweight after 3 straight panic attack, addiction to stimulants, drugs, out of control behavior, to now the brain man and leading brain education optimization expert. But for the past 6 years, you have been on a mission to learn everything possible about how the brain works and, how to optimize the brain. The pinnacle now being, you're being sought after by, corporations, professionals, all types of organizations to, to that next level of high performance training and coaching. But take us back to your own real story of having gone from the hospital bed to radiant health. Take us back when your heart and brain were at war and what you had to do about it, because really your life depended on it. In essence, tell us, Chris Wyllie, how you became a game changer.
Yes, magic process, everyone. Everyone's looking for the magic pill. It really is a process. And for me, how I came about this process is I see myself in a lot of people in business, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, a lot of students in school. Like when I work with grade 12 students or first year or second year university students, I see kids who are really brilliant, people who are really smart, but their brain is always racing and they don't have the control over it. And in some people that manifests as anxiety. Sometimes it manifests in developing drug addiction. Sometimes it manifests in emotional breakdowns and difficulty controlling mood. And for me, I've always been a really high energy, intelligent, motivated guy. And for me, my initial image of success and for my career was to go to Harvard Law, get an MBA. I was set to do a business degree at Ivy Business School in London. And going into my third year university, I had a 4.9 GPA, probably the highest in my entire university a group there in the field. So for me, I had basically a full ride scholarship to a Harvard Law lined up for me. All I had to do was do well on these LSAT exams. Now for me, I always had really bad anxiety, panic attacks before tests, before performances. It's when you're a really high energy guy like me, and a lot of people you see are high energy, that energy can overtake you. The emotion can overtake you and it can be hard to control it. And for me, my my secret weapon was always going to like my grandma's house before exams in high school. Even during university, I'd have to drive home on some weekends because the anxiety was so bad to be in a place where I could relax. But for me, I was in a place of total non-control. And I'd go into this LSAT exams and I have a full-out panic adrenaline attack. And this was after doing practice exams, getting near perfect scores on practice exams. And I know a lot of parents, a lot of students invest lots of money to practice and work on their kids. But then when it comes to the test, how come the brain, how can you go in the state? And people didn't understand when I said, like, I really don't have control. My brain would just go bonkers.
Yes.
And for me, it's like I took the conventional advice. And if you look at the conventional advice on motivation, on productivity, on working, it's all about like work harder, take bigger action, find a better strategy to control things and to get it working. And for me, the harder I worked, the more I tried, the more I was determined and motivated. I basically just studied so much, I got to the point where I had no fresh materials. So then I was going to the second LSAT exam, then the third LSAT exam, and stressing about not having fresh materials to study. And long story short, the anxiety and panic attacks led to me resorting to stimulants, ADD medications. I tried. All my friends, upper year students, medical students, PhD students, they pop these things like Skittles. I'd be in the library and all my buddies, they would just be like, just popping one after an hour and that next hour. Oh yeah, all these medical school students, it's a real serious problem. And I see it in my friends who are studying for medical school or in medical school, is the reliance on stimulants to focus the brain. Now the problem is that's going to work for some people, but for people like me who already have a lot of energy, for me it's sent me overboard. And it led to profound anxiety, led to illicit behaviors, led to out of control behavior. And then after my third panic attack, I was hospitalized. And in the hospital bed, it was like 5 a.m. I just literally looked at myself and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? You know, sometimes we do stuff, we go down certain paths, and there comes a point, it's like, you know, what the hell am I really doing here? And for me, I made a decision in that moment to pursue what I love and what I would do on my spare time whenever I had it, which would be to research about the brain, the mind, health, performance. I started running my own personal training business when I was 17, helping people with weight loss, with the body, learning from some really smart strength coaches, and doing all kinds of training. So the training and interest was already there, and this anxiety really just spurred me to take control over my brain. And this is where we have a brain, we have a mind, we have a body that's always running and working, but how can we take control of it? And being hospitalized, having the anxiety, having the panic attacks really focused me, really brought me to my mission and purpose, which was to figure out how the brain works, how we can use our mind in a way to evolve and develop our brain and body and have the control to express ourselves naturally, healthfully, and sustainably. And this is where you can, by figuring out how the brain works, and the brain works a lot more simply than people think. It's incredibly complex, but in working with lots of people, depression only manifests in a few ways. Anxiety only manifests in a few ways. It's like the person who has depression, let's say, a lot of times it's just simply recalling a bad memory and feeling bad. And that's no different than the person who has a profound fear, a fear of public speaking. It's the same kind of mechanic. It's just different content, so it leads to a different effect.
So fear is future-based, depression is past-based. Is that what you're saying?
No, you can have both. Yeah. I mean, you could, for instance, for like me, you could, before exams, you could get all stressed out about, oh, I hope I don't get stressed. I hope I don't have the panic attack on the exam, and I'm going into the future and creating that already. Or I could think about the last exam when I didn't do well, think about that, remember it, get all stressed about it, and in the same way I could be producing the anxiety.
Right.
So for everyone listening, this is where one of my most influential mentors who I've learned from directly is Dr. Richard Bandler, the creator of neuro-linguistic programming. And it's really focused me on the importance of analyzing and observing how the mechanics of the mind works. Because we have a tendency, like even for me, to label the anxiety as good or bad, depression as good or bad, when really you need to just look at all your behavior rather than a thing, look at it as a process.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like even for the focus, it's like the kid who has ADD, you're labeled as ADD, but it's really the kid is unable to focus in specific areas such as school. Now you put them in front of a video game and boom, they're focused. It's because they're activating a different neurochemistry, different neural pathways in the brain. So part of something like neurolinguistic programming is basically looking what's working in the mind, what isn't working, then what you want and what's been holding you back, and then how you can utilize, access, and then build new neural pathways to be able to do the things you want to do. So this is where, like, yeah, I mean, that may seem kind of complex, but it's really very simple. So one of the biggest elements in taking control of your brain and transforming myself has been learning about how the mind works and how you can change the thinking processes to actually change the brain. Now, the second piece has been really in the clinical side, the neurotechnologies, and this is where, oh man, if you guys have migraines, if you have headaches, I was so tense, the migraines were so bad that I would be getting massages like twice per week because it was so tense. And it just so happened that my massage therapist changed to a new clinic one of the days, and at this new clinic I saw this doctor working with this little boy with these sensors attached to his brain. And I saw that, I was like, boom, okay, what's that?
What's that?
What's that? Okay, that looks pretty cool. That looks like something brain, that looks like technologies. I'm like, okay, I got to learn about this. And a really genuine, brilliant doctor named Dr. Peter Duchesne, who's actually a chiropractor, and he was working with his autistic son. Now, in this practice, he had a hyperbaric chamber, and he had this earlier form of neurofeedback called lens neurofeedback. So as soon as I saw this, I was in there the next day to map my brain to see what was going on. So for me, the anxiety, I'm very creative, very emotional, like very fiery. So for me, I saw my temporal lobes, which control those abilities, were very hyperactive. They were on. So for me, stress could turn on like that. I'm also could learn really fast, but stress would turn on like that. Now I work with people and I image their brains, and a lot of time the anxiety could be caused by like overthinking. So you have like the intellectuals, you have the analyticals whose frontal lobes are always running. So this is where, just to weave in one principle that probably you guys want to write down, or people listening, would be the first step to optimizing your brain and health is to see exactly where it's at. You know, you do an audit for a business to gauge the health. You go to the mechanics, he lifts the hood. You really got to get some feedback on how your brain's working.
Okay, so for example, we're in a smaller city. What if that technology isn't available? Like, would it be available in every major center? Or, like, so this is brain scan or brain, whatever that is?
This is where, like, my goal is, ultimately, the highest technology is your own mind. So it's to basically train your brain to be the ultimate biofeedback machine, where you can know exactly what your brain's doing, and the best test is whether, are you focusing the way you want to focus? Are you sleeping the way you want to sleep? Are you performing the way you want to perform? That's the best test. But a lot of people, they're not even close to that level. And even me, I'm almost at that level, but like there's still a lot of work. And it is possible to develop the kind of abilities and control that Shaolin monks have, that young yogis have. It takes more intensive training, but we can speed up the process. So right now, the technologies things are starting to become more widespread. But the truth is, it's like, I even work in like being around a lot of really smart neuroscientists. They can't read the data or see how to improve it and optimize it necessarily the way like I can. It's like, so there is an element where you have to learn about how the brain works, because you can have the technology and read it. It's just like, I have neurotechnologies and neurofeedback that other people have too. It's just, they don't necessarily use it the way I use it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people like in the biohacking world, they're recommending all these nootropics. You don't understand that it's like you can do as much harm as you can good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like through changing myself, and I've for the last like the last decade, 6 years at least, I've really been into nootropics, nutraceuticals, nutrition, brain hacking technologies. And I can tell you there's been as many days where I've been lit up like fantastic as I have been, shit, I got a really bad headache and that was a bad mistake. Don't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like technology, supplements, these are tools to get you to the level where you can control everything with your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we can speed up the process significantly, because who wants to spend 10,000 hours mastering something? I want to master something in maybe 500.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I apply to martial arts. It's like even some of the Sifus I learned from, they're amazed at how fast you can learn, but when you really get your brain working, you can learn very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But so here's the thing. So right now, people do have to come see me for that level of brain imaging.
Mm-hmm.
For the future is the neuroscientist who created it. It's like I would like to make this accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So where people could eventually get these technologies at such a rate where they could have the technology, then they could just be on like a Skype like me, and I could interpret their results and then guide them as to the actual treatments.
Yeah.
And I could even make it so that I would have a special key that those protocols could only be activated with that key.
Okay.
So that people couldn't be messing themselves up.
Okay.
So
Very cool. You have some big plans. Big.
Oh yeah. And then rocking the brain power nutrition world, all the superfoods I'm talking about, I want to launch and give pure, authentic ones myself. A lot of people, they're very focused on their product. For me, it's a little bit different. When you work with families and moms, single moms with autistic kids.
Well, that would be me.
Yeah. You have an autistic son?
I have an autistic daughter.
Autistic daughter. You have a totally level of different understanding, and it's like, for me, it's like I want to get the foods, the nutrition, the herbs, I want to get them so that these families, they can do them. You know, I'd rather have them pay the money where there's the value added intellectual training that they're not going to get. It's like the food, we want to just get that as an automatic. We want to make the highest quality food just a given for people. So that's really one of my goals. And so this is stuff that will roll out. I do get a ton in a day, but ultimately there's only so much I can do at a time.
Right.
Right now I'm still writing the books, getting the actual processes out there. And then from that, then you can start the mechanics of launching the food products, making the technology scalable, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get right into this, Chris.
Yeah.
How does our brain really work, and what are some of the top brain hacking strategies to boost brain power, focus, brain
For sure.
health?
For sure. So the first thing that we need to understand is the brain, it's basically a targeting machine. Okay, the brain is evolved to basically predict, plan, and manifest realities. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So this is where our conscious mind, the thought we have right now, is really designed to be like the flashlight where we shine in a direction which our body and brain, the unconscious mind, is like the engine will take us. So we like to interpret behavior, dreams, and these things like there's logical explanation. The truth is our brain is just like an engine. It just runs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It needs fuel, right? Yeah, it needs fuel.
And it's the job of our conscious mind to aim and target where the brain will focus on and take you. So this is where the number one thing is just the language, the way people talk about themselves. They're constantly talking about, well, I don't want to be nervous. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be fat. And really all their brain is hearing is nervous, fat.
Yeah, it doesn't hear the word no and not and don't.
Yeah. So how you think and how you use your brain, it's literally like stepping into your car and programming your GPS. Okay? Now, for people, they may have no clue what it is they want. They have no clue where direction they want to go. And my news for them is that's absolutely wonderful, because you will discover things as you go. All you need is an initial direction to focus your brain.
Okay.
And then number 2 is the brain isn't logical, it's purposeful. So this is where we develop habits. So we develop habits in certain parts of our life. We develop certain thought processes. We develop beliefs. At a certain time, they serve a purpose. It's just, if you have a habit, like let's say smoking cigarettes, that may have helped you to relax initially, but now it's becoming something that's absolutely draining you. So you could go see a therapist for 10 years to figure out the root cause of why you started smoking, but the fact of the matter is it developed for some purpose. Our brain's going to do something that's going to make us feel good and add some value. It's just right now it may be draining you more than it's building you. So this is where, don't go down the road of analyzing why or what's wrong. It's just, it developed for a purpose. The purpose may or not be serving you now. The question would be, is this thought, is this behavior helping me to become the person I want to become? And this is where people's brains are so depleted in neurotransmitters and energy that the thinking process isn't there. So it's like, even for you, comfort foods, addictions, depressions, anxieties, is you're doing that stuff because you're getting some little benefit initially. And what's needed to change those things is to build something more powerful in your mind, something more important, purpose. It's like a woman will quit smoking the minute she wants to become a mom because she's found something more important. So really, for your brain, honing it in on the purpose. It's like when you're learning, don't just read a book. I mean, you read it to enjoy it, which could be the purpose. But if you're going to read to learn, you want to ask yourself, okay, what am I going to do with this information? What do I want to do with this information? So, because for me, it's like, I know I'm going to be speaking in front of people. I know I'm going to be speaking with a lot of doctors. I really want to be on my game. I want to know every little detail, and I want to know the next detail. So for me, with that purpose in mind, it really focuses my brain where I'm going to learn that information at a higher level. So number 1 is, so the brain is purposeful. And then number 3 is the brain is nonlinear. So this is where a lot of people, it's like, I'm going to give you an analogy, is in the 1960s in neuroscience, is they cut a part of the brain. They cut a part of the brain like in the temporal lobes, and all of a sudden the patient, they lost memory. They couldn't remember anymore. And what neuroscientists did is then they said, okay, therefore that region of the brain controls memory. You know how we have this localization, left brain does this, right brain does that? Well, it doesn't really work like that. It does to a degree. But that's basically like saying, it's like you have your computer or your TV. If you go to cut one plug at the back, you're going to lose the whole television show that you're watching, right? Now, would you say that that cable controls the whole television show that you watch? That cable itself is responsible for the show you watch. No, right?
You know, because if somebody else is watching it somewhere, it's just my system.
The other mechanisms.
Exactly.
It's my
exactly. So you have the satellite, you have the TV itself, you have all these other components which produce the show that you watch. And it's the same thing with the brain. So the brain, it's like, even if you've done PET scans, even if you've done fMRIs, even if you do a QEEG brain map with me, and you see there's specific regions of your brain that are off, that does not mean that you cannot have a good memory. And the brain is remarkably plastic. And if you read a book like The Brain That Changes Itself by Dr. Norman Deutsch, who's actually a local psychotherapist, I believe, here in Toronto.
Oh.
He wrote these fantastic books on neuroplasticity. He's someone, Norman, if you're watching, I want to connect with you and meet with you. He's written some fantastic books showing how people who have Parkinson's, people who have epilepsy, people who have different neuromotor and different things wrong with their brain like ADD, how they, through practice, deliberate focus, have been able to rewire their brain and develop those abilities. So the brain is nonlinear, it's plastic, there's always hope, it just requires focused, deliberate practice.
Okay, I want to just tell you something. One of our doctor said, we did a series on autism not long ago. And of course, my daughter always comes up in conversation because that's my passion, is to find help for her, right? And so she's 33.
Okay.
And several of the doctors said to me, it's probably not going to be able to change at this point. Like, I would have had to work with, you know, all the diet, all the everything earlier on. And we, you know, here's the deal, is we never really got an official diagnosis from the medical community. This is all from my research, and boom, she's got this, she's got this, she's got this, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, that it just crushed my heart, thinking that, what, there's no hope. It's like she's going to be like this forever. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
But that's what I was told.
Yeah. Families I work with, it's the same thing. They bring their 4-year-old son, and doctors are saying, well, you're going to have to live with this. And thank God the families are, you know what, screw that, like hell.
Mm-hmm.
And
because it's a tough road to live, let me tell you.
It's a tough road. I work hard, but I have the most respect ever for families who are there. Because the thing is, you know what I love the most is it does really, the thing I appreciate is when we get little improvements, like speech improves, they start talking, they start expressing their emotions. Mm-hmm. It's those families, they notice every little bit of improvement.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, based on how the brain works, is because in order for the brain to change, the training has to be very intensive. It does. So this is where, like, for autistic kids, in my experience, it takes a full-out, multifaceted approach. So when I work with a kid, number one, when they first come in, I'll ideally have them, because I'll train them to be able to take some forms of supplements, brain supplements, to balance the chemistry. Then I'll do the work with the neurofeedback or neurofield, more complex neurotechnologies. Then I'll do actual neuro-linguistic work with producing language, with using their mind, with their brain in the state. Then I'll usually put them in a hyperbaric chamber. Now, this is a lot of time, and it's very expensive for families to do this. Mm-hmm. But I've had families where the kid has been non-motor and the kid has started speaking. The child started speaking. Mm-hmm. There's been some really remarkable cases. It's just, for me right now, it's like, I need more support, really. Mm-hmm. I need more people like me who can really... Right,
you got to clone yourself. You got to clone yourself so that you can...
Good luck with that, but I need some people with the energy and the, the thinking processes, the understanding to be able to work with me. That's part of growing and expanding. But right now, it's with the few families I'm working with, we're getting some really remarkable results. Mm-hmm. It's because another thing as well, these doctors and people, they're so disconnected from the energy and spirit of life. Mm-hmm. It's like children, not just the kids, they can feel your energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have autistic kids who will kick and scream and will not put on a brain cap, but when I'm there with them, touching their hand, they'll do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know, they feel it. Yeah. They know, they feel. And it's like, even I get in trouble. Sometimes I'm told I'm too ridiculous, too
out there.
But too out there, things are too simple. Things are incredibly complex, but the complexity leads to simplicity. But you got to have that passion, that fire. You have to be living what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And in order to be able to really work with, especially kids, if you have to connect with them, they have to be able to learn from you.
Yes.
And especially for autistic kids who are very energy sensitive. And it's like, even kids who aren't labeled autistic, but they have a lot of Asperger's symptoms.
Well, that would be my daughter, yeah. She lives on her own. She keeps a beautiful apartment. She's got her own dog, but she doesn't want to speak to anybody.
Yeah.
She has no friends. Do you know what I'm saying? She can't, she's very brilliant, though.
I'm working with a lot of kids who are just like that. They're the high performers, and they're so smart. They have a lot of social anxiety. So this is where, like, I even have some of these kids, they say that I'm like their best friend. They're like...
Because they really want one. They really need one.
Yeah. So this is the thing. It's like for the kids, this may be for your daughter too. A lot of the kids I'll work with, they'll just go home, they'll study all night. And they'll be like so brilliant. They'll study. Now, the way they think, the neural pathways they access in their brain to study is different than what they're doing when they're thinking about social. So this is where some of the neuro-linguistic programming, changing how they're thinking and basically using the same processes in the brain that they use to study, I can use to then have them go out and talk to people.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of times is especially for autistic kids, is they'll create a lot of, they'll just create a lot of anxiety in their mind.
Yes.
And the mind is running so fast. I do the brain map and their brain doesn't shut off. And so
Keeps going.
It's so easy to see how they'd have incredible amounts of anxiety. So this is where, by connecting with them, then doing some of the neurolinguistic programming to get them thinking and accessing the parts of the brain that they used to study, and then teaching them how to interact with people, that people are going to respond. They're going to be jerks. There's going to be people who will make you feel bad, but there's going to be a few people who make it all the worthwhile, who you'll be able to share yourself with, who you have friends with, who you have experiences with you can't have on your own. And then, of course, I'll weave the power of stories. So this is where it's a very fun way. This is kind of the fun of the brain training for me. You have the technology, which is fun to rewire the brain, but the real fun is just getting the mind shifting.
Yes.
And leading people into that and training them. And I think this might be applied for your daughter too. Now, your daughter may have some specific things. There could be some excessive glutamate. There could be some sensitivities. There could be some stressors, which if we cleaned up, would help to reduce some of the biological stress. But for her, she seems really brilliant, then a lot of it may be working in the mind. So this is one of the best things, in these cases.
And do you find too, with these individuals, that, if like what I've noticed is that she hasn't been stimulated by life enough, that all of a sudden she starts manifesting physical discomforts and pains, and it just kind of solidifies the fact that I can't go out there, I can't participate in life because I don't feel well, which, this is a whole new thing I've been going through with her, and I think, geez, it's like, and I can only do so much.
Yeah. Now, one thing to know is autistic kids, and a lot of the kids born, like these new age kids, there's a way higher level of energetic sensitivity. So one of the reasons why autistic kids actually retreat to their own internal world is because the external world is too stimulating.
Right.
So there's too much, even the speech and all the stimuli going around. Their brain is already too much in a hyper-activated, hyper-inflammatory state that anything external is overstimulatory, and it causes them to go internal. Now, part of this is, number one, so there's a few things we need to change there to help change the results. Number one is we want to get the environment better. We want to reduce the biological stressors. So this is the fake artificial lighting. We want to block a lot of the EMF. We want to get the kids out in nature. So I do a lot of my treatments and training out in nature.
Oh, good.
As much as I can. And literally, I train a lot of these kids like they're martial artists. I get them to move their body in specific ways. I get them to control their breathing. And the first step in speech is I get them using their vocal cords. It's with breathing and sounds. I want to get them just exercising those parts of the brain. And then the second piece is the brain works so fast. And autistic kids, they're so smart. Parents, teachers, they underestimate them because they are so smart, and when you talk dumb to them and you have them do simple things which they've already done once, they're not going to do again. And they're going to get a rush out of doing things which make you respond in a certain way, which means they are smart because they can predict your behavior.
Should we talk about that, Selma? Selma actually used to work with my daughter. So, yeah, but we're getting kind of off track here, and I don't want to spend the whole time speaking about her. And so maybe we can speak.
Well, this isn't just about her. This is about people who have kids, whether in general born in the new age. And this is where, when you understand, like one thing people could take away is the brain is remarkably sensitive. And this is where one thing in terms of brain hacking to build up that resilience is we need a dietary shift. We're living.
We're living, that's what I was just going to go in there. Yeah, what brain power nutrition here?
Brain power nutrition, number one. The first really important thing is the cell membrane. 50% of it is like this fatty acid called DHA, which we know is fish oil. Okay, now the reason why DHA is important and fish is called brain food and seafood is really important for the brain is because this DHA molecule, it's like a quantum molecule. It converts light frequencies, converts it into an electric current in the brain. So I've measured this on brain maps is people who consume DHA over a course of 2 months, and this would include both supplement, but more importantly, the actual food. So it's in the actual geometric proper position to be integrated into the brain, because most supplements are not in the proper geometric position. Everything in life boils down to geometry. If you don't have the proper geometry, you don't have the proper physics, the molecule doesn't work in the right way. Okay. So ideally integrate
the real thing.
At least a little bit of wild fish. Now people are going to be concerned, okay, what about heavy metals? Well, here's the thing. Your immune system, your redox potential, the charge of your body is naturally designed to clear heavy metals. So as long as you're eating a high quality, eat it a few times a week, then you're integrating a lot of the other side of nutrition would be a ton of like greens. And this is where herbs like cilantro, rosemary, oregano, basil, they help to clear heavy metals. Then you add in superfoods like chlorella, spirulina, they help to clear. So when you have the proper balance, the nutrition, we need number one, the fats. So DHA helps to build the structure. The next would be phospholipids and choline, like in egg yolks, also in fish, also in fats, like which help to build the cell architecture, the myelin, the sheaths. So this is where for a lot of people I recommend a higher fat consumption. And then you have the fats for fuel, which your brain uses as energy, which is like coconut oil, MCT oil, which this is the stuff that's in like the Love and Libido Mocha.
Ooh, that's what I want to hear about. You've got great reviews.
Ladies and gentlemen, for brain, for hormones, for libido, for energy, man, you can get yourself fired up.
All right.
And, yeah, this is no more Kellogg's cereal in the breakfast. I'm sorry, people, but you're going to be able to enjoy chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Karen,
you're our best friend.
In the morning. Man, I got lawyers who are stressed as can be, and they're like just singing on their way to work because they're lit up like a superstar.
Okay, so give us the recipe. What is all in there? I've got my notes here.
Recipes on YouTube, but basically as a base, you can do organic coffee. Now, coffee, people think it's good or bad. It's just an herb. It's a yang stimulatory herb. Okay, so you balance it with some anti-stimulatory herbs like some reishi mushroom, cordyceps, boom, coffee's fine. Then you have coffee, then you have the cacao, raw cacao powder, organic, lots of different companies you can get. Yeah, I'm going to launch all this stuff, but there's lots of good companies you can get at a health food store. Then coconut oil. Now, one coconut oil I will recommend is this Silkany organic coconut oil, Silkany. It's really good, really silky smooth. Totally different consistency. And then the medium chain triglycerides, MCT oil. Okay? Now, depending upon if someone has adrenal fatigue, if you have low hormones, low progesterone, I may recommend you add a tiny bit of organic ghee.
Okay.
Maybe like a teaspoon.
Ghee.
Because that's going to really help the brain. It's going to help to heal the gut. So Ayurveda is used ghee is used in Ayurveda to help deliver the medicines to the cells. The fats help deliver it to the cells. Now, what you can do, because that's kind of the foundation. So now if we're working with women and we need a little extra hormone power, then we could add in some like maca powder. We could also add in some raw vanilla powder. Vanilla will help to raise serotonin. Chocolate and vanilla go nice together anyhow.
They do.
Yeah. Now, yeah, so that's kind of the foundation. Now, the thing is we want to get some of the tonic herbs and some of the adaptogens, some of the things that build the energy, build the immune system. I mean, Chinese medicine's been around for 4,000 years, and they basically identified, okay, if you want superior radiant health, you know, you could consume 4,000 herbs, but you focus on these 60, these are the best 60. And that's where you get into reishi, cordyceps, goji, ginseng, schizandra. So you may want to add some of those to the beverage. Now, for me, I'm a little bit more extreme. So I have my super...
I can tell you.
I have my super yummy beverage, which is like the mocha. But then I have, before that, I do a little bit of yucky one.
Oh.
So this is where we get like a powerful, potent, juiced green, like some wheatgrass or like some greens powder. Then I'll put actually all my herbs, like the ones that are really strong. I'll put them in the yucky one, and I'll drink that in the yucky one. Things like a little bit of deer antler, the goji and stuff. So I'll do the yucky one, then I'll do the yummy one and really enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of my style. Your style may be, you could just put it all in one. You could put a little bit of reishi into that beverage, but that's a good foundation.
Okay. Good stuff.
You use that once a day, or a number of times, or in the morning, or preference, or what?
Oh, yeah, you can do it in the morning, first thing, empty stomach. You can also do it 2 times a day, I recommend.
Okay.
You can do, yeah. Now, the main benefit for this is number 1, fats and cholesterol are the foundation of your hormones. Okay, so you need sufficient fats and cholesterol in order to build pregnenolone, in order to build progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, all those hormones. You ain't got enough fats, your hormone's going to go down. Case in point, look at the women who are killing themselves in the gym and eating no fat. Their body shuts down. Okay, so you need enough fats. And the second benefit, the key is, a lot of people don't understand this cholesterol. You can get cholesterol tests, but you need a second test to interpret it. And that second test is a measure of inflammation, something called like the HSCRP, highly sensitive C-reactive protein. That's going to measure the inflammation in the system, because inflammation is like the traffic cop, Karen and Salma. If you guys got inflammation in your body, that cholesterol isn't going to build those juicy hormones. It's going to make more cortisol to stress yourself out even more. So the main marker there is by getting the cacao, getting the tonic herbs, getting, like, even before I recommend in my juice is you put some turmeric, ginger, lemon, some greens, juice that and drink that, that's going to destroy inflammation. It's going to get your body hormone system humming along. It's going to get you taking that cholesterol and putting it into the cell membranes in your brain.
Okay, and so let's say somebody is watching this show, they go, oh man, he's a smart cookie. I'm going to start on
I'm a
this.
little bit on fire today. I'll usually, sometimes when I work with clients and I'm trancing them out, they get a softer, slower, more Ericksonian type hypnotic storytelling suggestions weaved in, such that when they wake up, they're automatically doing the behaviors. But today it's more on fire.
There you go. So here's my question. Somebody watching this interview with you right now, say, he's a smart cookie. I want to get started on this. How quickly could they see measurable results by starting with, let's say, your green yucky drink, and then following with the yummy one? Like, it would be a daily thing. Within how long? Right away.
Right away.
Ooh.
Oh.
Right away. You add in the good, you'll get the benefit right away. Now, there's a few things. In order to make the nutrition work better, number 1, getting the body working. If you're exercising, if you're doing qigong, if you're doing yoga, it's going to make all the nutrition work better because it's recycling the body. It's cleaning it.
Oh. Yeah.
Number 2 is being able to have more control over your mind. Meditating. Now, most people, they don't notice the benefit fully. See, when I test things, I'm pushing things to the max. It's like I'm doing 4 hours of like crazy Shaolin level, Bruce Lee level training. So if I do something and it's raising my energy, I'm going to drive fast enough that I'm going to notice the difference. So for you, when you add this good stuff in and you push yourself, you will notice if there's a difference.
Right.
It's like being in a Ferrari and only going up to 60 versus a Nissan Sentra. Driving up to 60, you don't notice the difference. It's when you get up to like over 100 when you start to notice the difference. Yeah. So high performers especially will notice a big difference.
Yeah. Chris, you shared, I think it was on a podcast or something like that, working with an Alzheimer's, patient, and you had given a mixture of some sort, and all of a sudden, her language came back. What was that mixture all about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was fascinating.
Beautiful Italian lady. She hadn't spoke in a few weeks. The family was freaking out. A good friend of mine. And he brought his mom in, wasn't speaking. Yeah. Mapped her brain. What we see as in Alzheimer's is the brain stressed, completely locked, hyperinflammatory state. Now, what I know is in Alzheimer's, you have a deficiency in acetylcholine. You have excessive glutamate stressing and destroying the brain. And you have a lot of the hyperinflammatory activity. So the first thing I did is I saw the brain. I saw that. I designed a cocktail. So the cocktail included 250 milligrams of acetylcholine, a choline booster.
Okay.
I put in some magnesium threonate, magnesium specifically for the cerebral spinal fluid.
Okay.
Help raise GABA to reduce the stress. And then I gave her some acetyl L-carnitine to raise choline and help with the mitochondria producing energy. Then after that, I made her the Love and Libido mocha. So she had the supplements, empty stomach, mocha. 10 minutes later, she was speaking both English and Italian.
Well, talk about instantaneous there, Karen. Holy, whoa.
English and Italian.
We all want a Chris in our pocket.
Yes, that's right. Are you on speed dial? Yeah.
Just carry him along with us and,
Yes, that's right. You're on speed dial.
I mean, that's what those women say, I tell you. They just want a Chris.
Well, I got to ask you about the migraines because I am a long-term, sufferer. Like I'm down the meds and I'm trying to, I haven't been on.
Kick that. Let's do it.
Take us through that because I think 25% of the population, in the world suffer from headaches and migraines. So
I'm
going to let you go on that.
So everything in the physical world on the earth is modeled and used in the brain. So in the ocean, you have currents that bring cold water that sinks down to the bottom and warmer water that rises. So what happens in migraines is the energy flows of water are off in the cerebral spinal fluid. Okay? So what happens is when the energy flows are off, there's also cell dehydration, is we need to get the energetics working right again. So one of the main reasons why is the melatonin cortisol axis will be off. So one of the ways that we can help with migraines and headaches is reducing blue light at night would be to ground, get out in nature, do meditation to help synchronize and balance the energy flows. Because what happens is the energy flows are off and you get a migraine or a headache because you get the headache and migraine, part of it is because you're not getting oxygen to the frontal lobes. So this is where in my practice I use like hyperbaric oxygen chambers to help with that. Now, if you don't have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, this is where you can do some biohacks. So one of the biohacks is something called like Fournier effect, where you could be your lower body in a hot tub and upper body exposed to the cold. Energy is going to flow from the hot to the cold, so it's going to go to your brain. So you're going to increase oxygen tension to the brain. Number two would be through getting the energetics of the brain, the mitochondria working better. So here's a rapid game changer mitochondrial cocktail. Number one, D-ribose, 2, taurine, 3, acetyl L-carnitine, CoQ10, PQQ. That's it.
Got that, Selma?
Yeah.
And the magnesium threonate. Magnesium threonate is very important. A lot of people with migraines have excessive glutamate.
Okay.
Now, another thing for migraines and headaches is I would start drinking spring water as much as you can, wild spring water, structured spring water. Okay? Now, the other thing would be is you're very sensitive probably to pressure. So this is where on days where it's darker and gloomier, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to increase the oxygen tension to your brain. So that would be the day to get your yoga in, to get your exercise in, to get the meditation in, because your brain's going to need more.
Okay, so like typically, so we're in Lethbridge, Alberta. This is the land of the winds, and I'm not talking just little winds. These are like hurricane gusts, right? And so this is what typically I think trips up people in this area and probably all along the Rocky Mountains, like on this side of the Rockies, because of that air pressure, right? And
Yeah.
So you can't always control that, but what you're saying to Selma is that's the day when you're going to do all those exercises to get more.
Yeah. So when you have, because you have less pressure and you're being further up in the air, you're exposed to more ionizing radiation. So what you're going to need more fats, more DHA. You're going to need more to protect your cell membranes, so that way you're not as electromagnetically sensitive. You're going to need more coconut oil. You're going to need more MCT oil. You're going to need more DHA, more wild fish, more intermittent fasting to get the cell membranes working right better.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I have to learn how to swim. I'm going to go that deep diving, don't forget.
Yeah, you can do the deep dive, bottom of the pool like a yogi, underneath. Make sure you build things up. Go low and start slow with the brain.
Okay.
You don't need to be totally crazy like me. I get in trouble from my seafood. He's like, man, you learn too fast. You're too eager.
That's never a bad thing. That's never a bad thing, Chris. You're on to greatness. I can tell.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're brilliant. Yeah.
You got to push the limits and of what's possible. You got to really allow yourself to see what's possible. A lot of us, we have beliefs and things that get in the way. We don't believe that we could thrive and build a business at 50 years old and start a whole new career. We don't believe that we could live to 120 or 140. And the first thing is beliefs, they change in an instant. You see a human being fly. If I were to get up and fly right now, everyone on this planet would believe that human being can fly. Mm-hmm. So one experience changes a belief.
Right.
So all you need to do is put yourself out there and do something, and boom, the belief's changed.
Right.
So what I like to do in clients is I will give them convincing experiences. It's like someone comes in depression, they're thinking the same thing. The doctors, psychiatrists, they'll go in, they'll say something's wrong with you. I will not say anything's wrong. I will just observe and be like, okay, your brain's working perfectly to remember that every day. But I'm going to give them experience where that's changed, where all of a sudden they have whoa, the door's opened. Mm-hmm. And now they've seen a bit of the light, and then it's like, okay, we want more of that. Mm-hmm. Right? So really with the brain and what I do, it's just designed to open you up, just to shine the light in, to get you, and the nutrition and all the strategies, this is designed to just get you in the state, because it's ready, aim, fire. Not why don't I have a target, not fire, then ready. You got to get ready. You got to be in state. You got to have the energy. And it's not just changing your state. Like, you have to balance the neurochemistry. You got to get the physics working. Mm-hmm. Because I got news for you. You can go to all the motivational seminars in the world, but if your neurochemistry is off, then you're going to go back. You're not going to be changed.
I've done that. I used to be in network marketing, and I would go to all these conferences all over the city, and I come back and just feel totally deflated. I thought, what did I waste all that time and money for?
Or you're excited for the first couple of days, and then it just kind of, waves there.
Because, guys, motivation is not a balloon. You don't get a balloon and then it deflates. Motivation in the brain is something that builds. It's just like making love. It starts off slow and then accelerates, gets faster and faster and faster. The brain's designed to accelerate. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be challenging. But the closer you get to where you want to go, the faster you should accelerate. And that's how the brain works. So for geeks, we have neurofeedback systems, which basically see where the brain's at and train it. Mm-hmm. Brain, we want to actually train it to accelerate. We want to measure the rate of acceleration in the brain and neural pathways. Mm-hmm. And then feedback of that. Mm-hmm. Because we accelerate towards things. We accelerate through the finish line. When you grab a glass, your hand accelerates to grab the glass. It speeds up at the end. When you punch, a martial art punch, it speeds up at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where we don't even have, we have literally a taste of how the brain works and what we can do. It's like, oh man, they are so much deeper. It's like even the self-development world, there's conferences going on about motivation, about changing your life. Man, I tell you, there's way more we can do, and it starts to come when you put the science with the self-help, the Eastern and Western science together, and you start marrying it together.
You do a lot of work with elite athletes, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I work with basketball players and they want to jump, and it's like I do a few Qigong movements because I got the Qigong. I can slam dunk a 10-foot basketball net.
Whoa! The Toronto Raptors are not looking after you, or what?
You should check out my Facebook page. I just showed you one of my jump kicks. I got like.
I'm gonna have to see that there. I've been going through there, and I didn't see that. So wow.
This is where doing some of the Qigong to build up the body and build the energy is you can transform the physical abilities. If you can increase the leaping, you can increase reaction time. It's like you look at Bruce Lee's speed. It's like you can train your nervous system and get the energy going to work that fast.
Yeah.
It's just even athletes, they're so caught in their typical ways. Okay, I'll go see the therapist here. Okay, I'll go do the training here. It's like there's next level training that you can do. With the Qigong, the energy in the body, with the brain, and then putting it all together, oh man.
What about concussion?
Superhuman like Chris Wyllie.
Yeah. But what about concussion? That's a big factor. We've got kids and families, and like the rates are so increasing. Give us. I know our time is running. Give us a few tips here, and
Thank you for bringing it up. Most people, they're at a loss when it comes to concussion.
Yes. There's just not enough information, and
there ain't no one really treating concussion. Actually treating it. There's people who are doing some assessments, which are seeing what you can do and measuring.
Right.
Making that, but this is the number one thing is the actual brain imaging itself, the QEEG brain mapping. We're able to see precisely in the brain where the signs of the concussion are and be able to rewire and fix the functioning of that.
Whoa.
It's very huge.
I was just going to say that. Huge.
And then I have like I've written a blog post on my blog on the website with full nutritional concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Supplements you want to take, the nutrition you want to take, and the lifestyle exercises you want to do.
Yeah. Because that is huge, like a lot of parents, soccer, baseball, football, you see this little junior high, they're 8, 9 years old and they get banged, tackled, and, it's just what happens with that brain. So
yeah. And I have a few parents who have kids they want to go to the NHL.
Yeah.
So this is where not even treating once a concussion's happened, but it's basically fueling and training the brain so it's more resilient. So it's less like
good idea.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I've been trained by a Shaolin monk, so I can utilize a lot of the Shaolin principles to literally build up the strength of the skull to protect the brain. It's very advanced training. Yeah, some parents are gung-ho and they're like, okay, I want you to train my kid like crazy. I'm scared I'm scared out of my mind about him getting a concussion. We'll do whatever it takes so he doesn't get one. So I'll do Shaolin training with like the neuroplasticity work together.
Fantastic.
I don't know how you find the time to work with all these individuals so intensively.
Well, I'm pretty crazy. I got a lot of energy, and I was up I was on Instagram last night showing some just some candle punching. Just punching a candle for control at 1:30 a.m.
Oh my goodness. But look at you now. You're looking good there, Chris. So, we covered a ton of material. We really appreciate you joining us today. You've done so much excellent work, and the future is yours. You're a real asset to the field. And just a final question. If people want ultimate health right now, what are 3 strategies you would recommend that they incorporate into their lifestyle right now?
First strategy is you got to take control of the mind. You have to aim your mind. You got to think, okay, you got to put yourself in the position to either discover what the purpose will be or the direction as to what you're really aligned and how you can express yourself fully in this life. Because then every decision, every thought, every behavior, you're going to ask yourself, is this going to help me move forward in that direction I want to go?
Right.
Then number 2 is you have to prepare your body so that you're ready to embark on the journey that you want to go. You have to actually build the machine that can take you there. That's where the brain nutrition, that's where the brain hacking, that's where the martial arts Qigong, that's where the neuroplasticity work on the mind becomes important. Then number 3 is you have to learn how to use the strategies that are going to actually get you there. And this is where learning a lot of the strategies on how to use your brain, learning the strategies on how to think, learning the strategies for developing your body is That's the key. So is you need to, number one, you need to have the overarching direction. Number two, you got to prepare yourself. You have to be ready so that you can go there. And number three is you have to learn the strategies that are actually going to take you there.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
You are an incredible young man.
Is even a person who thinks that there's no hope, there's a paradox. People who come in and tell me there's no hope, they can't be helped, their brain is messed up for life. Mm-hmm. What they're missing is that they trust their own brain to make that decision about their own brain. Mm-hmm. So every single person, your brain works. It just may not be working in the way that you want it to or in a way that satisfies you. Mm-hmm. So the thing is rather than going into all these value judgments, just look at the areas in your life where it's working, where it's not working, and then what's not there that would change everything.
Right.
So for motivation, a lot of us move away from stress, but we don't have anything that we move towards, which is we create. Like we're not falling into things. We create what we're moving towards. So this is the kind of work I do with the executives, with the athletes, with the students, with a ton of women. I work with a lot of women, moms, and then also the kids. So the biggest thing is there's so much hope, so much out there, so much science, so much understanding, so much possibility. It's I hope that people really start to get hungry to discover it and find that there's so much more. Mm-hmm. There's so much more that we can be, that we can learn, that we can experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, you certainly are the game changer, Chris Wyllie. Oh, wow. This is
Chris Wyllie on fire.
Mind-blowing, Ray, mind-blowing.
Yes. Now, I appreciate you you ladies for interviewing me. I should let you know that in real life, I'm a much better listener. I usually talk 10% and listen 90%. So I just wanted you to know that.
You're good. You're good. It's all good.
Yeah. All good. All good. Sure.
I just want to kind of talk about what people are saying about you. All good stuff. Michael McDermott, Regional Sales Manager of Mulnick Healthcare, says it best when he works with Chris. He says, I'm a regional sales manager in the Northeast Coastal Region, Maine to North Carolina. At our national sales meeting in Atlantis, Bahamas, we had the opportunity to attend a brain and performance enhancement seminar with a special guest, Chris Wyllie, interested in helping my team increase their performance. We all went to the seminar. We walked in and saw this young-looking guy named Chris Wyllie. At first, we were skeptical. No way we're going to take advice from this young guy. We all thought, who the heck does this Chris Wyllie guy think he is? I've been in business for 30 years. But yet we took a seat, listened to what Chris was talking about. Right away, we knew that Chris knew what he was talking about. In fact, I was blown away by how simple, intuitive, and powerful the information that he was sharing with us was. Chris told us the story of how he took a CEO of a law firm from 300 pounds with type 2 diabetes to 180 pounds with a full bill of health and his business growing faster than ever. Chris had me completely sold. I learned some very valuable information about the brain and nutrition from Chris's talk, and afterwards asked him to design a personalized game plan for myself and for my son, who wants to be a pro baseball player. We just started working with Chris for the past few months and have achieved some extraordinary results already. It goes on and on and on, and then thank you for your help, Chris. That's quite a testimonial. I mean, you're unique, obviously. I believe, I don't even have to ask you the question how your services, training, and coaching are different from others in the field. I don't think there is anybody else in the field like you.
No. Yeah, he's number one.
That combines it all. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, Chris, you're offering on this show a specialized one-on-one customized brain optimization session.
Yes.
Tell us more about this offer for people who want to go further with your work and services.
Yes. So I've presented there's a lot of information, a lot of things people can do. So what I want to offer to people is a chance for a full one-on-one session where you come in, you tell me the issues you've been experiencing, and what you specifically want to be able to do with your brain, mind, and body. And I will design a customized game plan of the foods to eat, the practices to do, the timing, the bullet point game plan that's going to get you there. And I even will have probably a chance where it's on Skype, but I still can do some of the neuro-linguistic, neuroplasticity work where I could get your brain and mind working better via the web in that session. So everything personally tailored to you.
Well, how long is this session typically?
It'll be 90 minutes.
90 minutes. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, full. I mean, I can do it 69 minutes, but I mean, people, I'll give them the game plan. There's a lot of things people need to work on.
Yeah.
It's like, even when it comes to like things like anxiety, addiction things, sleep things, it's like I really want to give people a chance to be able to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of with like doctors, or they're seeing a specialist, they don't have a chance to express themselves, and it's like they leave feeling that stuff's still inside them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for people.
Wow.
You are a game changer. If people want to change your life, this is the person to help you with that. That's just no ifs, whys, wherefores, or buts about it. You are one of the best out there, Chris Wyllie.
You are.
We can't thank you enough for joining us.
We really apologize for going over the time.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Oh, you're just fantastic. We just love
Well, thank you so much.
And your strength and power and charisma, and just your presence is fantastic. Thank you very, very much. We
Thank
really
you for spending this time with us, Chris. It was lovely.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. Well, we have to chat more. And Karen, about your daughter, let's continue this conversation and see if I can help you out there too.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All in it for the right reasons. Thank you very much, Chris Wyllie.
Take care, guys.
Thank you
for joining us.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.